All right, so here this is the as you can see, our all-in-one vLoc3 RTK Pro receiver that has a built-in survey-grade GPS antenna. So as you can see, what Joe had said before, and obviously, Travis has done a very good job saying about the evolution of all of this stuff. We're using a cellular phone connection with a built-in GNSS satellite tracking antenna that does all the 4 main constellations. And then we'd log in survey grade in 2D RMS, which is plus or minus 1 inch. We're using a N-trip RTK provider. Minnesota has their MinCores facility, and obviously in many other states you have a free correction service, and also there's commercially available ones as well. So that's the unit. You see like a vertical view and another screenshot there. I'll just take you over to this. So our overview is that we collect from multiple satellite constellations with the RTK receiver and base stations. The base station will generate a correction data for the RTK calculations and allow this via the 4G cell phone network to receive corrections across the network, to give you in real time plus or minus 1 inch. And these base stations are operated, as I previously said, by some states, some DOTs, and obviously some free services like there's general ones like RTK to go, and also there's ones that you pay for, like TopCon, Leica have one, and also Trimble. So when you're actually collecting the data, this is a screenshot of our unit. It's just a traditional locate screen. So it's if you are a locate technician, you can collect real-time GPS data in survey grade. So it's not intrusive to the everyday locator. It's not too much information. It truly is a very simple click and collect idea. So storing a point, you'll go along, and the locating technician drives everything on when they're trying to store where the underground utility is. They've already nominated which utility type it is they're locating. Be it gas, electric, power, cable TV, all of those options are in the unit. You select a new survey, then you select the utility that you want to locate, and then you go along, do your traditional locate methods of proving as the utility you want to locate. For a very simple button press, you align the, you'll see there's a small white bubble in a larger green bubble, and that you'll see on the right-hand side of the screen. You are vertically aligning your GPS antenna with the bottom of the utility locator, which is your exact position that you want to collect of that utility. And once it's within 1 degree of accuracy, it'll record it and snap that the information, send it to the cloud, and send you back directly to the normal locate screen. So here's a video of a old locate guide some people may recognize, actually storing and taking points. And the reason why I'm stepping back 1 or 2 paces, the GPS, we've got it set on the screen of the regular locate portion. It will actually count up in inches. So we wanted to map out every 15 feet. So you actually get plus or minus 1 inch accuracy with the antenna. So therefore you can do exactly 15 feet or whatever distance the contractor or utility says you must do, whatever the best practice is. So with that being said, with the locating, obviously it's very important, obviously, to know what you're doing when you're coming to locating. So Some of the features on this device is if you swing the locator too much, not only are you wasting energy, but you're not using the equipment correctly. So we have a very small vibration motor in the handle, and actually vibrates to tell you, to say, hey, you're swinging this unit too much. Don't want to mismark. Want to avoid a damage. If you're also too close to, let's say, for example, a grid around a power transformer, it will, or too close to the transmitter, an overload indication will come up to tell you you're too close to obstructive signals, and therefore you won't be able to take an accurate locate position with that locator. So it warns you with that. If you have a lot of interference from overhead power lines, high tension lines, especially in the summer, if that does become a problem, it will give you that indication as well. And also there's one last one that you'll see. If there's shallow depth, anything 6 inches or less, it'll give you an indication there as well. You can still record the data. It's just asking you the question, is that the utility that you are locating? Also, there's several different modes available on this unit. We use a color bar graph and a color screen to indicate the quality of the locate signal. Enables the technician to make the determination, one, is this signal good enough, and two, am I on the right facility? So we have a offset mode. It's fully automatic, and it's the only unit that'll let you take a offset reading that will give you depth of cover and laterally your distance from that utility. And it'll also show you in real time the quality of that signal. And it changes color according to the quality of that locate tone. There's also a transverse graph mode, which some people like, and also the plan view mode. In all of these three modes, and also the classic mode, we always display the depth of cover and the current of the signal you're detecting, which is very important when you want to determine, is this my utility I wish to locate on. So talking of a color display, if our information is green, it means you have a very, very clean signal. Distortion levels are very low. If it's blue, it means you have some distortion. That can be the real world. This indeed does happen. And if it's red, it means you have a high level of uncertainty. And all of that information is captured when you take a GPS point and sent directly to the cloud. So it gives some very important feedback and makes it intuitive for the operator to see, to make sure they're making the right decision when they capture that point. So there's some other discussions, people have gone on about and say, hey, I want to be able to go back to a previously recorded point. And you can do that. So in this unit, once it's defined in the cloud that this previously recorded point, that you want to go back to it next day, next year, 6 months' time, as long as it's designated in the cloud that those coordinates are a point you want to walk back to confirm you are going back to exactly the same position as you did prior, you can send that information over the cloud. You don't need to be in the office to get it. You pull it to the job site, turn on your unit, go into the sub menu, ask for it to collect your nearest walk back points, and you'll notice in the bottom left corner here of the screen it'll say 15 feet, and it tells me I need to walk directly north, hence the large green arrow. And as you get closer, it counts down its footage. Once you get within 10 feet, the red cross is where those GPS coordinates are. So all you do, you just put that red cross in the middle of that green bubble. Press the plus key, and it sends it up to the cloud in real time. And in the office, you can see the fact that you've just confirmed that that technician is at that point that you've designated. Now that could be a point to say, this previously recorded to say, I want to make sure that the operator is connecting their transmitter at this gas meter, for example. Something like that. It can be a stationary point as well, things like that. So that's one option, and being in the cloud is updated immediately. Also, logging of attributes, obviously something that we know many people are looking at. You can also, there's a feature set in the unit where you can define above ground attributes, each depending differently on the utility that you're locating. Obviously, power is different designated attributes than gas, for example. Here's just a screenshot of gas. So you can go into that. This is customizable as well. Put in your list, go out into the field, and you can take in survey grade GPS plus or minus 1 inch. You can select an attribute description, for example, a gas meter here, log that point, sends it to the cloud, and it's designated as being a gas meter at these coordinates, and it's all done in real time. And if you wish that to be a walkback point in the future, you just designate it in the cloud as a walkback point. So that's on the operator side of the ability to use the equipment and the intuitive aspect of it. So when it comes to the data that we've collected, there's just a kind of brief overview of what it's doing. Points of interest, depth of current, locator serial number, model, if you're a user, what team you're in, date and time stamps, coordinates, mode and frequency you were using, all good stuff that if you want to look back at it from a damage perspective, a trainer perspective, or an audit perspective, or any of those can be done. Even for a designation of work, it can be done also. So we have a VMMap, a Android and iOS app that you can use on a cell phone. That also gets sent to the cloud as well. It's just not as accurate as the RTK Pro, which is giving you your survey grade due to the corrections and the antenna chipset in the unit. On the front end, the management tool, you see this MyLocator 3 in the bottom left. This is our desktop application, which is our management tool that helps you set up any of the Series 3 equipment that we have pertaining to how you believe it to be set up. So it makes it customizable. So with the cloud management data, goes into our VMMap web portal for secure data transfer. You can view it in real time. You can do a locate, and within 2 minutes, it's in the cloud, sometimes less than that. You can export various file types because everybody's on different platforms with their maps, etc. The data from the database can be accessed and put into third-party applications using APIs, automatic program interfaces. The data transfer to and from the database is secure. We're using our friends at Microsoft for that. And it ensures data integrity and things like that. Access is only by authorized people, username and password, etc. And also it can be tiered so that a locator may not have the same permissions or view as, say, a supervisor, manager, or damage prevention manager. And all of the data will include a large amount of locate information and a large amount of GPS accuracy location information. So if I go, here's just a brief snapshot of some of the information is sent. And you can sort it and filter it by user, mode, frequency, unit, date and time. Like for a depth of cover survey, that can be done also. The more data you put in there, the more you can select on. There's just some examples of a view of a pie chart that we can have. And again, you can do it by teams, user, utility type, frequency, current, depth of cover, whatever it may be. You can put more, you can merge surveys. So if, say, for example, you had 4 different utilities in a town, you can do the 4 different surveys of the different utility types, click merge, put them all together, and they will all show on one map. So some exports that some people want, KML, shapefile, CSV file, which is a download for if you want to look at real data analysis of the locate ability of a person if they're in training, or for a damage, for example. You can look at all of that. We have an open API for customers, and some people have used it with their own applications in order to enable them to use their work orders on their smartphones in the field with this equipment. And here's an example of that. You'll see the blue lines is actually a gas company actual imported from their maps. And you'll see these red dots are actually what we did with the RTK Pro. And they were just confirming that it was accurate before they started a contract, and it did actually prove that. So with this particular application, the customer was able to import their customer's information and use our data via an API all onto their application, which is their work order application and also ticket application. They can take pictures with this certain application as well. So we've worked with a couple of people that, you know, they've customized their own per their work orders, workflow, what have you. And so we were directly able to import our information into there to complete their job. And the workflow just seemed to be easy for them. So in regards with Esri and shape files, fully exportable, fully expanded, and we have people that use that stuff today. So that was really just the overview of the product that we have, and the ability of a locator. It's got all the full features of locate equipment, plus it has this internal antenna that it's enabled at giving you survey grade GPS in real time. Is there any particular questions? I didn't want to use up too much time, but
we're good on time, folks. So please go ahead and ask questions as you see fit.
Well, I just wanted to do a little commercial.
I was wondering when you were going to do this, Barb.
Yeah, so for Gopher State One Call has partnered with both Utility Logic for VVX METROTECH and with Subsurface Solutions for the radio detection. So if somebody in Minnesota wants to utilize this, you know, the equipment that fits their needs, just contact Travis or Joe, and they'll work with you to participate in a really a free pilot for your area. And if you have other people that aren't on the call that should participate, that you think they should, let them know. And GSOC just wants to be sure that this equipment and capability is known and is tried, and we can increase the growth of GPSing the lines in the field.
Thanks for that. We certainly appreciate the opportunity. I don't want to speak for Travis, but I know getting both sets of equipment out there and in the hands of folks that want to try them out has been a pretty neat deal. We want to thank Gopher State One Call and One Call for supporting that whole process. Again, before I let Calvin go, I just want to see if anybody had any more questions, more specific to the equipment, the data collection. You know, that's what we were really trying to bring to this group, and we've got a vast array of experienced people that understand, you know, mapping and data transfer and so on and so forth. But people seem to be lacking on information on how we can actually utilize our locating operators in the field to do the data collection. And hopefully, I think a combination of these two presentations have kind of brought people up to speed about some of the equipment that's available out there today for doing that data collection.
I just have a question regarding growth. So if you take the state of Minnesota and the various municipalities and underground utilities, where are we in terms of being able to get more precise mapping? Are we at the infancy? Are we, you know, maybe, you know, growing a little bit? And how fast do you see this taking off, Travis and Joe?
Travis, I'm just going to jump in and probably add that I think everyone in this group would likely have a different answer for you.
I think, yeah, if you ask me, Barb, it all comes down to money. I think the want and the desire is there.
Yeah,
And it's getting the equipment and the licensing in the hands of the people who do this.
Well,
Okay.
and we certainly have to address the liability issue. That's always been an open topic of conversation too, is utilities are holding their information very closely to their chests, not because they don't want to avoid damages by sharing that information. They're just largely concerned that if they do and there's a hit, are they liable for having shared that information that maybe lacked accuracy or a whole host of different scenarios.
And I don't disagree with that. I think that's kind of a side subject. I mean, I think everybody wants to be mapping it, and the sharing is kind of the second, But for internal purposes, everybody wants to have this in their own back pocket to use.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think Gopher State, though, I think there's the pipe dream right now that Barb's kind of rolled out that I love the idea of that, fast forward to, augmented reality or sharing of this information so that contractor that's on site working within close proximity of that dangerous utility has this GPS information plugged into their equipment. So their machine actually alarms them if they come in too close a proximity to that utility long before it's actually hit. That stuff is fantastic. What portion or how far are we towards reaching that goal? Barb, I think that was kind of where you were going. I guess from the water wastewater utility, if I had to guess for that municipal side of things, I'd say we're maybe 20%. Now, this group has touched on the fact too, we have lots of cities out there that will tell you they have their entire town mapped. And that may very well be true, but where did that information come from? And at what accuracy was that information collected?
Someone speak to the issue of when you're out in the field doing a locate and you come across an unexpected development. Is that recorded anywhere, or how does that piece work?
What's an example, Steve?
Like a damage investigation you're talking about, right? That is.
Well, I'm really thinking about the issue if you've been contracted to go out and I'm thinking more of like maybe XL is going to trace an underground electric line or something, and they sense something else as they're moving through the area they're doing the collect on. It is, I don't know, maybe I'm not thinking about your process correctly, but I'm just asking generically. I see some of these examples of streets torn up in New York City, and there's like 500 lines in one place, or whatever the case might be.
So interesting question. I actually had this exact scenario last week. Paul and I were out doing a product demo on the RTK, and it was an electrical utility that knew full well they were able to prove in the field that they were bleeding off onto the fiber. And what they did is they actually created a separate survey, surveyed the fiber in that area that they were locating from their electrical system connection point, and actually documented that on their mapping. So future operators that went out in the field to locate that electric could be aware of the fact that previous operators found this fiber that they were bleeding off onto, and it was leading, an inexperienced locator to believe that was a correct location when in fact it wasn't. So there's an example where they use that change of events as an opportunity to document that other utility and highlight to future operators that there's a potential risk of a hit or having an errant locate in that area.
There's a utility in Arkansas that's also doing the same thing. When they come across an unlocatable or something that's just maybe abandoned, they have in their app and I think they're using Esri Collector, or they're using Locust View. They document an unlocated line. And so then they have a confirmation exactly at such and such a date that it was confirmed that this line is right here and at that time. And they also do it on their own stuff when the hydrovac team is out there. When they have a positive eyeballs on it, they can document that it has been confirmed, it's accurate, and it's at this depth.
And is there any sort of a clearinghouse to share that when something like that occurs? I have to believe the answer is no, but.
Would that be the dirt report, Barb? The dirt report do that? You're muted.
You're on mute, Jen.
Yeah, if people submit the data to DIRT, you could submit that. But it's just, DIRT is really based on who submits what information.
Thank you.
I got a question for Kevin Sherrington. This is Kevin at Max at Austin Utilities. We use Esri, and we use the utility network extension. And that is a add-on to Esri that now stores the data in a format specifically for utilities. It knows what a transformer is. It knows what a pole is. When you're mapping stuff using your application, is that application programmed or set up for input into utility network extension?
It's done for ArcView Online, but utility network extension, I think, is part of enterprise on Esri. Is that correct?
I think what he's asking is that can you program your data layers to conform to the utility data model schema?
Yeah, with an API, yes.
Yeah, and Damon, you hit the nail on the head. I was asking, does it conform to that data model or not?
Right, so that
or is
would
that something you'd have to customize?
Right. That way, when you append the data that was collected into the field into your current system, it's little to no cleanup work. It's just, apples and apples and not apples and oranges.
Correct.
And with the API, the answer is yes, it can. It'll do it automatically with Esri.
Steve, just to add to the response to your initial question about reporting of those incidents, various states across the country collect that type of data, and the One Call Center often acts as the collector of that data. But the reality is what's collected is areas where a facility has been found that wasn't located, areas where a near miss has occurred, or areas where a damage has occurred. The level of detail that's collected isn't really such that you could generate any kind of actionable report out of it. And I don't know of anybody that's doing that at this time, but the data is often there and held in mass, just not in a way that could, I think, accomplish anything downstream other than reporting on the number of incidents and what's occurred.
I'm guessing that there's people on this phone that have way more experience than I do working with the locators, but the ones that I've worked with out in the field on the projects where I go visit, the answer is it depends. I mean, they're so different from, back pocket paper maps and a can of spray paint, where if they find something unexpected, it depends if that 20-year-old kid is going to make a phone call and tell anybody who's going to update their back pocket map, to cities and areas where they've got the guy who's been doing it for 30 years and this is his baby, and he's going to be damn well sure that anything that's out of sync is going to be documented and recorded to the highest level. It just really varies.
So effectively, it's a procedural issue, how it's handled. Okay, thank you.
For some companies. Kevin, in regards to your data model, utility data model, we will have a presentation coming up. Another company, we weren't just ready yet. So if you want to be able to utilize the locator using Esri Collector, we have a solution for you. But we'll probably present it in January or February or so on one of these other meetings.
Okay, thanks, Travis.
Well, gentlemen, I think we want to thank you so much for those presentations. It's got the thought process moving forward. And I think at this point, unless there are any more questions from the floor, we should move forward. The group reports are going to be real short from what folks have given me for feedback. So unless we've got some more questions, we'll press into those.
And thank you, Travis and Calvin and Joe.
Yeah, thanks everybody. Hey, Calvin, it was good to hear your voice again, man. I've missed you.
I'm just older.
Well, me too, but we used to talk all the time. I'm glad to see that you're still up and kicking.
Yeah, barely. Well, thank you everybody for the opportunity as well.
Thanks, Calvin.
Yep. Take care, everybody.